truth teller, not a fake soothsayer. This is right on time, harder than a bricklayer. I'm a go-getter, no one can do it better. This is all about hex, forget the hex haters. I'm a truth teller, not a fake soothsayer. This is right on time, harder than a bricklayer. I'm a go-getter, no one can do it better. This is all about hex, forget the hex haters. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Crypto Wonder. Let's get right into it. Hope you're doing well. So, yesterday I did a stream. I was talking about how New York City is just overall looking real bad right now. And it still amazes me. Unbeknownst to what I found out at that time, that morning when I was doing the stream, and there was an incident that took place, and that incident didn't prompt my stream. It was just other factors, other things that are happening that inspired me to do the stream. So there was an incident where someone basically jumped in front of a train yesterday morning and died. You know, no matter how many times I hear it, even though some people over the years I've heard many people become desensitized to certain things, but when you hear incidents like that, it's like, wow, the first thing people think about, which could be a human reaction is, or a New York reaction, I would say, because I don't know how other people would take this, but if you're on a train and you're headed somewhere and you need to be somewhere at a certain time, for example, going to work, and you experience a delay and you find out what the delay is because somebody jumped in front of the train and basically killed themselves, you get all pissed off and frustrated because you're thinking about how late you're going to be wherever you have to go. That's what living in this city causes you to think about after a while. You don't even think about the person who decided to take their lives in their own hands in such a devastating way. It's not the first time, won't be the last that these things have happened and occurred, right? And I didn't even know, and I just started talking about how New York City is just looking real bad right now. Totally different circumstances and everything. I didn't even know. And I just jumped on the social media and started talking, running my mouth like I'm doing now. Then hours later, after I ended my stream, there was a shooting that took place on a train station where two 17-year-olds were shot in their heads. One died and the other's in critical condition at 10 p.m. in a train station. This train station was particularly outside, above ground, not underground. And the shell casings, they say, reportedly were found outside on the street. But the shooting took place on the platform of the subway station. One kid, 17 years old now, got shot in his head, his shoulder, and his arm. And he died. Got killed instantly. And the second one is in critical condition. This happened hours after I got off my stream, talking about how New York City is looking real bad right now. And then, of course, I find this out through, word of mouth and social media, because I don't really like to pay attention to the news anymore. It's too negative. It's too depressing. I keep up to date with different outlets, but I just, as far as like primetime news, no. You go to sleep watching the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock news wherever you are, and then you wake up 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning listening to the news. All you're getting bombarded with is nothing but negative energy, negative news, negativity all around it. So I decided not to do that. But this is what's going on. Sometimes I catch myself when I'm talking about certain things, when I talk about cryptocurrency and the hope and the chances that it offers people to uplift themselves out of certain levels of hardship. Most of the time I think about young people. I think about them because they're the future. They represent the future. And what, opportunities lie before them. And I can't help but to wonder, what are we leaving for them? Because the older generation, right, based on the decision makings and the activities of what preceding generations have done, they have to now pay for it. The generations after us, for example, have to pay for mistakes we've made. They also have to benefit from great decisions that we've made. But the bad decisions are crazy. They're crazy. It's like, there's rumblings going around talking about how they possibly, it looks like there might be a world war, right? Because it's just tensions among countries, US versus Russia, China, all the adversaries. And financially, the dollar is being countries are getting together to create their own currency to separate themselves from the standard of the US dollar. And these things are sort of like, sometimes it's just, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? How did we get to the point where we're basically beefing with countries like China, but then so many of their products that we use in this country comes from China? How did we get to this point where you have 17-year-olds or kids, just getting killed like it's nothing in communities where it happens all the time? And a lot of times when I create content, I try to sometimes include the message of, should this video, reach the ears of a new person, to take heed to some of the things that I'm saying, because it might offer some type of value, some information that they could apply, that they could use, that could be beneficial, that could be useful, practical information. Because there's a war going on outside no man is safe from. No man, woman, or child is safe from. Shout out to Prodigy. Just because you don't see the bombs, right? You don't see, the grenades and bunkers and things, doesn't mean there's no, there's psychological warfare is absent. Doesn't mean, right, that we're not under certain conditions that are attacking our minds, attacking our well-beings. Those of us who are able to make decisions, who have our faculties, we have our limbs, we're able to just live and do things and prosper and make decisions and do good things in the world, consider ourselves fortunate, extremely fortunate, because I tell you, people, and I say this all the time with the clients who I work for, they cannot do the same. They cannot function. There's a thin line that separates us from sanity and insanity. And once you cross that threshold and become insane, it is extremely difficult. In my opinion, maybe next to nil to come back to being sane. Once you cross that line, there are people, it's happened, it's just what it is, where folks become insane. It's very, very hard for them to come back. So consider yourselves fortunate if you're able to think, if you're able to process information, if you're able to analyze certain things, question, and create and build, resolve, remove what doesn't belong. If you're able to even just be a simple, not even simple, but be a problem solver, you're fortunate. Crypto is here to solve certain problems. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. But it's here to help solve problems. Problems that we've been living under by way of the economic systems of the world for far too long. And it's here to address those issues, those specific problems. When you have heads of, central banks like Jerome Powell introducing Fed Now into the fold, I mean, we could kiss, privacy goodbye. Fed Now, people, like, they're this close. Like, this is something that I've seen even in advertisements, social media. People in the world are talking about this Fed Now business. If it becomes a reality, this digital currency, we could kiss our privacy or our autonomy goodbye. Kiss it goodbye. It's done. Anything and anything you spend on, if it's attached to Fed Now, will be traced, can be tracked. Amidst all the craziness going on, high inflation, we don't even know what to do anymore. It's just like, deal with it, right? We feel like we're powerless. I just speak. I'm not really generalizing to speak for everybody, but that's just how I see it, especially over here on this side of in my town right here. Like, folks just move like they're powerless. Here I am. I'm talking. What am I expecting people to do? Take it to the streets? I don't know. All I'm doing is talking into a device and sending it into the internet. What good is that going to do? I don't know, but it's like everything is not forever. Something is going to come. There's going to be a change that happens. Sometimes I would prefer for people to come into their own realization to effect plausible, realistic, and beneficial change rather than the change to be forced upon us. Right? We could exercise our will, our decision making, and really create something that can help instead of waiting for the decisions and the control to be enforced upon us even more. That's what Fed Now is to me, in my opinion. That's what that is. And folks are just like, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad, like I said before too. thank goodness for crypto right now. Thank goodness for the cryptos that I like and the advancements that are taking place. Thank goodness for the community that's very active when talking about Hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX. Shout out to the Hedron community, sub-communities, shout out to the ICOSA community, 100%. Shout out to communities that are offering something that's real crypto, like real crypto, to help people alleviate themselves from these constraints that we're under. The rich keep getting richer. And that's not by mistake, that's by design. And it's been this way since before we were born. Those who understand it get paid in it. Those who don't, pay it, right? Those who understand it receive the payments, become more enriched. Those who don't, pay it. Similar to understanding the law of compounding interest. Making things work for you, making your money work for you. It's not financial advice, but this is what many wealthy people do. They live off the spoils of their earnings from their assets. Not what their bodies produce by way of work and income and salary, by way of your physical laborious efforts. They allow their assets to multiply, and they allow their skills, their information to be put into use to live off the spoils of their assets. They never get rid of their assets, some of them. That's why you hear sometimes in crypto, never sell. Doesn't mean that you can't win, doesn't mean that you will never eat. It just means that there's different ways to make it work. And it's not for everybody. And the reason why the information is available to everybody, but not everyone attaches themselves to the information. Not everyone has the interest or puts in the work, the effort, or are even interested in seeking the information. And that's where everything falls apart. At some point, you have to draw the line. What side of the fence are you going to be on? Because everyone is not going to win because of the way things are just laid out, structured by design, The natural order of things by way of hierarchy, positions and status and levels and categories. Everyone is not going to be on the same level. So what part of the fence are you going to be on? What position are you creating for yourself? It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Condolences to that young man's family and loved ones who lost his life. I don't know what the melee was. I don't know what the conflict was about that would even lead to something like that. But 17-year-old, 10 p.m. at night, who knows what was going on? I don't know. Who knows, man? Who knows? Gang related, not gang related, innocent, victim. Who knows? Who knows? Gone, just like that. 17 years old. They didn't even have a chance to live to become a young adult. Legally, not even, In any case, people, keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize, whatever that means to you. Don't let anybody who's not for you shake you, deter you from achieving your goals. Do not allow any type of obstacle to force you to falter from becoming prosperous. We're not doing that. I'll never promote that type of energy for myself. I'll never do that. That's why I speak on certain things and I say what I say, because it's very important. It got me to where I am in life today, to believe in myself and not allow any outside interference to deter me from the mission, and you should do the same. And on that note, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.